Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Wells of Wall Street XPR Proton video right here, right now. Guys, couple of updates here. Of course, we talk about the NFT marketplace for Proton at the moment. It's quite a big kind of heavy area for them right now. Launching through the GoodX, GLB DEX, apologies. The 3D aspects of NFTs to be available on Proton. So just have a quick look at one of the absolutely crazy. So of course we've got the Proton loan launching soon properly. Of course they're celebrating this by the looks of it with some NFTs in a 3D model. Jeff Wallet, whoever you are, I think he really likes this one. He's bought pretty much all of them. I don't think there's any other buyers on there. So pretty much every series. Oh, there we go. There's a few. So some of these are going for around sort of $10. They've all been snapped up pretty much. So there's only a few left in addition. So that's only USDC. You need wrapped of Proton to get them. But yeah, interesting. So yeah, there's loads of that going on. And of course, in general now, we always like to do a bit of an update here. So in terms of statistics of how many NFTs or transactions have been done on the Proton sort of marketplace, if you like, standing at $1.3 million. That's absolutely fantastic to see that continuous growth on such an awesome platform. So yeah, guys, I think what's interesting here, of course, is the another aspect of Proton. Really, we have obviously the wallet now. We have the NFT marketplace. Transactions keep growing and growing. That number's incorrect, but there we go. So yeah, we've got lots going for it. We've got the loan mechanism, the fiat integration aspect coming as well. I think Proton's going to have an absolutely phenomenal future. In the charts, chart-wise, like price point-wise, of course, we've seen some great moves in recent times. As we see here, we had the big highs of this sort of near enough just over 5 cent mark. It's not near the high points of the 10 cents yet, but we must really appreciate where Proton has come from and where it is going. So, of course, there's some phenomenal moves that have been had. And we had this nice little W shape here, of course. So what we're seeing right now, we have some buy points kick in, which we're really pleased with, particularly down these lower regions. Obviously, we had over the last couple of days the leveraging issues and just world narratives in general, bringing pretty much the whole market down. I quite like it because with XPR, I've always wanted to keep accumulating more. We're getting to these sort of lower region levels of sort of 1.5 cents, which we're currently floating around as the recording that we're doing now. My honest opinion to be looking out for this kind of area as well, just floating above the 1 cent. I'm not saying it would definitely come to that area, but that's somewhere where I've purchased in the last day or two, accumulating on the way down, as it were. But I've got a big bag ready for this area between 1.2 and the 1 cent mark. I know we got to 1.36 yesterday, or even today, actually, I think is one of our lowest points. So I'm just anticipating a bit more of a curve down before we take this back up again. And the reason I put that there, again, historically looking at some very interesting sort of touch points, particularly around this sort of beginning of September mark and around this mid or early June mark as well. So it's almost like because we phased up so quickly and came back down, I don't feel we've had enough test points at this area. And it kind of tails in with some of these magnetic issues around here in November last year as well. So around about a year ago. So I'm really interested to see that. If we can obtain some stability around this area, I think we will tail this back up. And I've no doubt in my mind that we can push the barriers again as we come to the potential bull run coming in the coming months. So that's where I see it coming. I'm anticipating a bit of a further reduction. That's not saying that Proton's a terrible project or anything like this. We've just got to understand, of course, where we are in the chart momentums, where are our support mechanisms, and if there aren't enough of them, we've just got to anticipate that at some point these have to come back down to test them, to support those, and then we can build a foundation to push Proton in a more forward direction. Let's have a look at some of the RSI charts here. I'm just going to drag it out a bit so it doesn't look absolutely chaotic. Let's move the MACD down a bit as well. Just concentrating on the RSI. So as I've explained in a few videos, I've added a couple more time frames to this to get a few more confirmations in my ability to trade, because we're at the kind of like bottom levels now of multitude of charts. I've started to add the other ones in, so I can start reflecting in a month or so's time where we were buying. What does that chart look like in terms of the strength indexes? So on the 14-day right now, which is one that I traditionally use, that you've seen on a multitude of charts that we've done recently, this is now playing out at currently around the 33 mark. So for me, that was a good signal. To be fair, I started buying them around the 40 mark yesterday. And today is very much me not really doing anything today, but I'm just waiting out to see if we come down to that sort of 1.2 area, 1.2 cents. The RSI on the 28 close, so this is around the 28-day mark. I've put it as an average. Most days, most months are usually between sort of 28 or 31 or whatever. So I've just gone with 28. Could go 29, but it's not going to make a huge difference. But this gives me confirmations of the full movements. It's a very interesting pattern because it matches a 2-week schedule as well in that aspect also. But more importantly is seeing on the longer term that because we've had these, for example, these big sell-offs here, these big histogram here on the reds, nice sell-off period from the good intake that we had here. So very much over purchased in this area. We've had a mirrored effect. We've had some more continuation of that as people have maybe given up or thought slightly differently. I was expecting the tail off, but you just don't know in this space between the whole shorting and longing. This has obviously kicked back another further wave, which we'll probably anticipate, as I said, maybe a slight more curve downwards before we start tailing this up and hopefully crossing over in a few weeks' time. We'll have to see how that plays out, and we're looking forward to seeing how that does indeed play out as well. The 90-day close upon there, 3 months as well. So we got 3 points of data, and at this point in time, I can clearly in my mind say, right, from an accumulation perspective, I always look at like a 40 as a minimum requirement. We've done that yesterday. We're now looking at a 33. So we're getting to very low regions here, almost as low as you can pretty much get. Some go to around maybe 27, 28. If it goes any lower, it usually means there's potential that a coin collapses or something. It's very rare to be coming down to those extreme levels. I mean, we did sort of 30 back here in July, had a very nice tail up afterwards. So I do anticipate a similar move back up after we have this correctional period over these next few days, or indeed into the next week or so. But the 28 day is very interesting to me as well. Once that hits around the 40 or the 38 mark, that would kind of indicate probably the price that I'm thinking of around that 1.2. That is a really big bullish momentum for me, because I think a lot of people will be jumping in there. They'll want to keep it above the 1 cent. They won't want to see it coming lower, albeit that is a possibility. But I think there's a lot of volume in here. The project is fantastic. It's for the future for sure, this one. I've got it in staking. I'm literally, personally, just buying XPR and sticking it into the Proton wallet for staking. That is all I'm doing, and I'm happy to do that for the next few years. I'm not fussed about trading, unless, of course, this goes crazy, maybe like 20 cents or beyond. Some people are predicting that out there, and then I may pull some back off the wallet that I've perhaps obtained through staking and stuff and sell it off that way. But we'll have to anticipate that nearer the time. For the MACD perspective, of course, we continue this bearish momentum that we have seen, arguably, with the exception of this take up here. I would argue, to be honest, that this decline has been occurring since around this point here on the 20th of October. We switched over completely. That created the mechanism of uncertainty, if you like, or slow reduction. I like the fact that the gap between us has been very consistent. It's not been an obscene gap, which is great, because it means that we can start to try and narrow this. I thought we were going to try and do it over today, but clearly that gap is not done yet. So we need to keep an eye on this, in my opinion, guys. I do think that, we're obviously hitting this support mechanism on the fib retracement around 1.3. It failed it today, and it's taken it back up. But that might mean that we have a gradual drop down to these areas. I'm quite keen to see if that happens. If it doesn't, fantastic. We still made some great moves here in accumulating in these dips. I would like to, of course, see Proton obtain and achieve higher support mechanisms as we go along. But I think this area is quite critical between this 1.2 mark and this 1.7. We really need to get some closes within that area for the coming days to ensure we don't drop any further than the 1 cent. and take this back up to where it belongs, in my opinion. Extremely undervalued, but very much accurate in terms of its time frames and its life cycle, if you like. There is more to come, and I'm sure as the announcements of the loan features come out more and more, and of course the fiat integration, as well as many other things I'm sure they'll bring to the table, this will take itself up organically regardless, with a bit of fluctuation, of course, of FOMOing and excitement and all those great things we see in the crypto sphere to take advantage of, both up and down. So guys, that's wrapping up Proton. Let us know what you think in the comments below. What have you been doing in the XPR market in the last few days? Really keen to understand what you guys are doing. Don't need to know monetary values, just want to know your take on this. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Have you been holding? What are you doing? We will catch you in the next Proton video, probably at the end of this week. Until then, guys, we'll see you there. Bye-bye.